Hello, gorgeous humans. Welcome to the manifestation experiment. My name is Alina Grayson, and I am about to give you the greatest manifestation training of your life. We even got the whiteboard here. Like, we are going all out. I am so excited. This is day one. When you're hopping on, say hello. If this is your first time ever catching me live, if this is your first masterclass with me, say hello. I want to get to know you. We are about to have so much fun. And I just want to let you know, this will probably be about 90 minutes. And so if you have to hop off, don't worry, there will be a replay. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, Alina Grayson, because there's some exciting things going to be happening there. But this will also be live streamed into my free coaching community and the Next Level Coaching Community by Alina Grayson. That's what it's called. And it will also be in the guide section. And then there'll be YouTube links sent out, replays for those of you who have registered. So let's see. Where am I live here? There I am on my personal page. We are going to just live stream into the groups. Okay, perfect. Hello, gorgeous humans. I'm so happy you're here. Okay, we're just going to add a couple people here. So I'm going to give a little intro here, and then I will be checking comments as you guys hop on. So this masterclass is not really a masterclass to teach you how to manifest, because the truth is you are always manifesting. Your entire reality is a holographic projection of your consciousness. Everything in your life, in your actual reality, is a manifestation of your consciousness and your energy field. So the teaching in this masterclass are really about how do I actually consciously create what I actually want? Because you're always manifesting with our thoughts, with our beliefs, with our energy, with our subconscious. And I'm telling you, manifestation is not a woo-woo complicated thing. It is actually so simple. And I'm going to actually literally break down the steps. This is why we also got the whiteboard so I can actually visually show you guys stuff as well. And so these conversations are really going to take you through what I took myself through to change my life. So if you're new to my world, the version of you that you see is not the same version I was 8 years ago. I used to be a chicken nugget, shy, very low confidence, anxiety, lots of debt, single, all the things, and my whole reality has changed. Every area of my life has drastically changed through the principles that I'm going to teach you through in this 2-day masterclass. I have drastic changes in my confidence, in my appearance, in my health, in my body, in my business, in my relationships, my finances. The entire business that I have was built off these principles, and it helped me find my purpose and my fulfillment, and I'm going to do this work for the rest of my life. So I see Jackie is live. Hello, gorgeous. Let's see. I'm just going to open this up and hopefully I can see comments. Okay, I see you guys hopping on. Hello, Ella. I'm so happy you're here. Hello, gorgeous. So every master class that I also do, I want to let you know, if you want a chance to work with me, and you want to win like 80% off, 50% off, all you have to do is save the graphic in the background, so the manifestation experiment graphic, and tag me on my social media. So Alina Grayson Coaching on Instagram or on Facebook here. You can also share this live video and you'll get 2 entries if you say share this live video. But if you tag me anywhere, we're going to be doing a draw on Friday and you get chances to win. I actually might be giving away 2 free spots to a brand new program. So you got to share, and there'll be a bunch of people picked for 50% off, 80% off, and you can use it towards anything except on memberships and private coaching. But everything else, you're good to go. So, hello, Kimberly. I'm so happy you're here. Just did a reading for Kimberly. Powerful, powerful. Jackie in the house. We got Elle in the house. Hello, gorgeous people. I'm so happy that you're here. And so if you do have to hop off, just know there will be replays. So, the first thing we have to do to get into this conversation is to get out of our logical mind. And I want you, I know a lot of you have studied manifestation, I see a lot of my private clients here, but move away from everything you know about manifestation. Really lean back in your feminine. We got to get out of the logical mind. Even though I'm going to share some science, and the thing is, we do have to be brave to believe in things that most people are not willing to believe in, because even though we have a lot of like evidence now, manifestation, quantum physics, the observer effect, string theory, all these scientific principles, the truth is even physicists can't fully explain what is going on. Like there's a whole theory about string theory that atoms aren't just 99%, like vibrating, there's strings in them. So there's just like all these things coming out. But what it takes really for these principles to work for you is that you are brave enough to believe in things that a lot of people aren't willing to believe in. If you'd met me like 10 years ago, I didn't believe in any of this. I was very logical minded in the corporate world, and I am like so into this world, and I want to teach you this stuff. So I've had a lot of drastic changes in my life, but they didn't come through the logical, physical things. It started on the inside. Everything that changed on my outside changed first on the inside. So this is the issue is a lot of us, this is society's programming, we have been manifesting in the wrong order of creation. We're chasing a lot of things outside of us. When the truth is everything that you want to change on the outside starts within. And we don't tend to believe this because society has taught us what? In order to believe something, it's got to be measurable. In order to believe in something, you have to have evidence of it. You have to see it before you believe it. This is what we're taught. Like, we got to prove it, we got to measure it, we got to taste it, we got to touch it. We live in a society where literally we have humans, especially our little kids, having to measure their own IQ just to prove how intelligent they are. This is the society we live in. But it's all backwards. And I'm going to even bring texts from the Bible. Okay, I'm very spiritual. I grew up Catholic, and I've been reading the Bible after studying these principles for 8 years, and it kind of blows my socks off of how much manifestation like literature is in the Bible. Literally, it's been laid out for us. The whole formula is in the Bible. And I'm going to actually help you connect that through quantum physics, through psychology. But a lot of it, you can't exactly, you got to believe before you see things. You got to be able to walk with actual faith and not by sight. And a lot of us are being taught, success is something we go chasing outside of us when success is on the inside. And the only way that we change is to literally change our conscious frequency, our consciousness and our energetic frequency. But you got to believe in things that you don't see. You got to be brave enough to be one of those people for this to really work for you. So when it comes to universal laws, we walk by faith, not by sight. Everything want to change on the outside, we got to change on the inside. You can't have proof, even though I'm going to show you some cool things today, but you can't have proof. And also, so I'm excited too because I did a manifestation. No, I did an experiment masterclass back in February. It's cool. Now everybody's doing all these experiment masterclasses, but I did one in February on human design. There's going to be one on Gen Keys if you're interested later this year. But this is going to be fully on the universal principles. And so I want to let you know too, like, some things can't be fully explained. So you got to give yourself 40 days at least to really integrate this work. Hello, Blanca. I'm so happy you're here. Hello, hello. So get out of your logical mind, get out of the whole masculine energy, with your obsession with needing to prove things, and let yourself experiment. This is why I love calling these masterclasses experiment because it allows you to really soften in your feminine. It's just like, let's experiment. We don't need proof. Let's just experiment with this. Let's move into the feminine, okay? But there is so much science, guys. Like, our thoughts are creative. They have a frequency. Our emotions have a frequency. We have an aura. We have this energetic field and interacts with other people's energetic field, and we impact each other, and this energetic field that surrounds us, like, it's manifesting. Our thoughts are creative. So here is some science if you want some logical science, even though we don't need it. But I like learning this stuff because I feel like it just really solidifies how powerful this work is. So in quantum physics, we have experiments like the observer effect, right? So we know that the whole world is moving, vibrating. There are atoms, and 99.9% of them are empty energy. There is a new theory, string theory, where there's actual strings. But these are basically empty. And these are like even all the air around me right now. This possibility. It's like atoms. Like, and so in the observer effect, we are surrounded by potential energy. We live in a sea of possibility, all of this creative energy. And so in the observer effect, hello, John, when someone consciously observes an atom, they collapse into particles, into these waves. So our conscious observation of these atoms literally physically changes them. And so our conscious observation, the quantum field collapses them into actual physical form. How does that exactly happen? That's the part where we can't fully understand. And my son, he's a manifestor. If you guys are into human design, he's very defined in his head. He's very logical. And he's like only 6 kids in his physics class in grade 12. He just got to depend. Super, super smart kid. And me and him have these conversations about quantum physics. And he's like, still, like, there are still physicists that can't fully explain everything. So this is where it's like we walk by faith, by not by sight, but it is a lot of science. Like even if we look at neuroscience, psychology, you guys have probably heard if you're in the self-development world about the placebo effect. We have proof that our minds are so powerful. Our minds have the potential to heal our bodies physically. We have so many experiments where, an authority will come and say, here's this pill. You take this pill and you will be healed of whatever you have. And the people believe it. But the pill is full of sugar. But they heal. Why? Because of the placebo effect. Why? Because of our beliefs. It's believing in things. So it's not the pill, it's our mind. So we even have modalities like hypnosis. People are literally hypnotized to act like monkeys. We have people hypnotized getting off addictions, physical illnesses, right? To act different. And we have evidence of these experiments, how powerful our mind is. I'm going to really show you how powerful your mind is today and how it is the portal, the bridge to the spiritual realm, because we don't live just on the physical realm, the physical plane. We also live in the spiritual plane. Okay. So through neuroscience, psychology, quantum physics, neuroplasticity proves our brain is constantly growing, developing. 40 days. What a powerful aura. Yes. So there's some science. Okay. But there are things with our human senses that we cannot fully comprehend. But we already know the power of the mind is so powerful that it can create dramatic changes in our lives. So I've been down the rabbit hole, a lot of rabbit holes for the last like 8 years straight doing this work. And I actually went down the rabbit hole. Some of you read my post a couple days ago about like the history of science too. Do you guys know the original scientists of our human history is ancient philosophers? Like in alchemy was literally the first ever science. It was energy, enlightenment. So science and spirituality used to exist as one. And then over time, society became very left brain logical, right? Especially in the Western societies, because if you look at like Chinese medicine, it's still working with the chakras, the energy system, alchemy, right? But it used to be one. Spirituality and science used to be one. And then they branched out into different domains. And now spirituality has become this woo woo thing, right? And science is like logic, And so our society started really worshiping this fundamental truth. If you can't see it and if you can't prove it and if you can't measure it, then it is not real. That is not true, okay? But the history of science shows that, the Hermetic teachings, the scriptures were all about energy, all about energy. Everything is energy. We know this. Like nothing stays the same. Everything is vibrating at different frequencies, vibrations. This chair, this table I'm sitting on is a different frequency, lower frequency of consciousness, right? Not consciousness, but lower frequency. We're consciousness. So everything is energy. Nothing is moving. We are surrounded by potential possibilities and potentiality that we get to use the power of mind to actually create physical, tangible things in our life. So as humans, we are not just this physical body. We do not just exist on the physical 3D plane. We have source consciousness. We have God consciousness dwelling within us. The reason we have been given mental faculties above all the other species on earth is because we are spiritual beings, God consciousness, part of God consciousness, having a human experience. We forget this, and we are really brainwashed in society to forget this. So we do live on two planes of existence, the horizontal plane and the vertical plane. I just like to call these like the horizontal plane is like the material, 3D, physical, human dimension, right? We perceive everything is through the horizontal plane. And then we have the vertical plane, which is our consciousness, our being, our soul, our spirit. It's the highest form of consciousness. So in the Bible, it says we are made in the image of God. We are children of God, right? And you can call this source consciousness. I always go back and forth. So when I'm saying God or source consciousness, I'm talking about the same thing. There is a creator. Nothing comes from nothing, right? So you can call it source consciousness or God consciousness. But we have this mental faculty. This mental faculty is the portal. It is the bridge, okay? So even if you think about nature, like we didn't create our bodies, we didn't create nature, but we are given mental faculties because we have God consciousness dwelling within us to create chairs from nature, to create furniture from nature, paper, but nothing comes from nothing. I think we're all aware of that, right? We are here on purpose. We are having a human experience, but we have God consciousness. Everything is God consciousness. All creation comes from God, source consciousness. So we have been given mental faculties. This is what separates us from every other animal in the animal kingdom, right? We have creativity. We have these incredible, intellect. We can reason. We can feel like love. We can create. We have memory. We have farsightedness, like foresight. We have all these mental faculties. And so our mind, it is the bridge between the spiritual realm and the physical realm. Okay? Everything humans have created started in the mind because it is the portal. It's the bridge between the horizontal and the vertical plane. Humans didn't create nature, but we created everything out of nature. When we think about like the Wright brothers were like, we're going to fly in the sky one day. And everyone thought they were bananas. But then we built planes because the Wright brothers were able to be open to use their imagination. And then, because they were open using their imagination, the portal, they were able to get ideas of how to create planes. It's the mind that takes possibilities and our imagination that takes these ideas from source, and then we physically start creating it. All your ideas, all your desires, all of that comes from source consciousness. And it's through your imagination, it's through believing in possibilities that you connect with source. Okay, so we fly planes because the Wright brothers were brave enough to imagine it in their mind, to create a portal to see and perceive possibilities, and then they channeled those ideas from source consciousness and built planes, and now we fly. Every invention, every idea, every material thing that humans have built started with the mind. They were able to open their portal to receive possibilities and ideas. Okay, so the mind is the portal. Our mind is the bridge between the spiritual and the physical realms. Okay, and so this is really cool because I gotta give you guys some cool Bible codes. But in Romans 12:2, something like that, it says, do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by renewing of your mind. And then you approve God's will. What does this mean? What this literally means is stop conforming to your current circumstances. We can call this the matrix programming the society tells us. This is why they're always scaring you with fear, telling you there's lack, scarcity. It's like the biggest lies ever, all these illusions, right? So this quote is literally in the Bible. Do not conform to the pattern of the world. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And this is like neuroplasticity. We have the ability to rewire our whole brain. So literally, do not conform to the current circumstance you're in. Because this is the thing. This is the hardest thing about manifestation is as you're manifesting, as you're using your mind, as you're doing all the things I'm going to tell you about, the hardest part is you're going to have to be the new version of you doing this work in your old reality because the 3D takes a little bit of time to catch up. Okay? But we go first. So don't conform to your current circumstances today, whatever your finances are, whatever the world is telling you, because it are limited paradigms. They're the illusions. Because the truth is, we literally dwell in a sea of possibilities. Source consciousness dwells within you. God dwells within you. And so the way that we get out of these loops, and I'm going to be showing you guys a diagram today, is to renew our mind. And renewing our mind is to change our state of consciousness. The only thing, honestly, guys, the only thing that gets in the way of you manifesting the life that you want is to first change your state of consciousness. And when I say state of consciousness, I'm talking about your internal paradigm, your belief systems. A lot of us, we have forgot that we are conscious creators. We're having a human experience. And the reason we forgot is because we've been programmed by society, by the elites, that there's lack and there's scarcity and that life just happens to you. And then there's fear paradigms. And we have literally, as a society, become slaves to our circumstances, forgetting that we're the creator of our circumstances, that we have power over any circumstance. If I am programmed with lack and scarcity consciousness, I will assume it consciously. And so what happens? I will perceive it in my circumstances. If I'm feeling lack and thinking lack, I'm going to see lack, and more evidence creates more lack. And it's just like we get stuck in a loop. So I actually made this little, like, I hope you can see this well. Okay. Oh, why is it blurry? Okay. But you know what? I am going to do another video about this on YouTube. Okay. this is like you and well, this is me, you, me. Okay. So we get stuck in this loop, okay? This is like the paradigm, the state of consciousness. This is your aura around you, okay? This is the loop though. So if I am seeing lack, I'm feeling lack, I'm going to continue to see it in my reality, and then that evidence is going to continue to make me feel lack, see lack, and I'm going to continue to loop, okay? And I'm going to teach you how to get out of this loop. But this is what's happening, okay? So this is the state of consciousness that most of the world in is because we are taught scarcity, we are taught lack, and we get stuck in this loop, the matrix, the state of consciousness. But it's an illusion, okay? And remember the Bible says, do not conform to the pattern of the world. Do not be limited by the illusions, the programming that society creates. You are source consciousness. You are part of source consciousness. God consciousness is dwelling within you, and infinite potentiality and possibilities dwell around you. But you can't see it because you're in the loop, okay? So I'm going to do another diagram in a bit. So it's too bad this is blurry because I took off blur from behind me, so I don't know why that is. But anyways, we're going to do our best here. But anyways, I like to give context first, and then I'll actually physically show you. Hello, Kayla. Hello, Melina. I'm so happy you guys are here. Thank you for being here, okay? But here is the thing, okay? So let's get into the work. I'll just fix my screen here. Okay, so we're gonna get into the work here. The thing that you're really, really manifesting, especially if you're someone who's like, I want to change my whole reality. Like, I want drastic changes in my finances, in my relationships, in my parents, in my body, all the things you've never had in your reality. What you're really, truly manifesting is the version of you that has the life that you want. And I'm going to take you through a whole sequence on how to actually do that. We are going to do some identity work, okay? And so, what is required first and foremost, when we look at the quote, we must renew our mind so that we're not stuck in a loop of the matrix, okay? Because if we're feeling it and thinking it, we're seeing it, more evidence, this is why we get in this loop, okay? What requires the first thing you have to do is change your state of consciousness. We must, again, renew our mind. It's literally laid out for us in the Bible. Because when you renew your mind and your state of consciousness, and you start seeing possibility, you start changing your frequency, and then you start changing your point of attraction. And then in that point, you take different action, which is the right order of creation. Okay, and I'm going to break this down for you, so don't worry. But hello, Maria, I'm so happy you're here. But the right manifestation formula is be, do, have. It is literally laid out in the Bible in Genesis, okay? Be fruitful, do multiply, have dominion, be, do, have. This is spiritual principles too, and it's literally in the Bible. You must be the version of you who has the thing, so then you take action in the right way. Okay? And then even ancient philosophers said what? As within, so without, meaning your internal has to first change so that your external can match the internal. This is where you have to walk by faith and not by sight. But the only difference between you and the version of you that has a reality that you want, the dream partner, whatever it is that you want, is literally your state of consciousness. It's your internal paradigm, okay? But it is literally be, do, have. It's literally in the Bible, guys. It's all laid out. These are spiritual principles as well. Okay. So this is the right order of creation. Most of us, we are creating in the wrong order of creation. So what are most people doing? First, they're chasing things outside of themselves in order to feel something, and then they'll feel like they have it, right? So they hustle, they say things like, once I have the man, once I have the money, once I have this, then I'll feel this, and then I'll do that and have that. We're putting money on a pedestal, we're putting material things on a pedestal, and it's like, hello, your source God consciousness. Stop putting things on a pedestal. You are the creator of your whole entire reality. And you need to feel things first in order to attract things you want. It's not let me go get it, then I'll feel it. That's the wrong order of creation. But again, this is society. This is the whole don't conform to the limited paradigm of the matrix, okay? So this is what we're going to focus on today. We're going to focus on the being. And then in day 2, which will be in my next level coaching community, decided to change the name, probably going to change the name again. I'm a Manny Gen. Who said he's human design here? I'm a 6'2" Manny Gen. So this is why I study a lot of things. I come with a lot of wisdom on my roof era. Anyways, for those of you who get it, you get it. But the thing we're going to focus today on is the being of the formula. And there's 2 parts to the being. Okay. So we're going to really work on your state of consciousness, how to get out of this loop. We're going to work on your energy field. We're going to do some identity work. And then day 2, we're going to talk about the doing, but we're really going to talk about because I want to call this actually the creation of money. So we're going to talk about what wealth creation is and money creation is through this be, do, have formula. So it's going to be really funny. You know how people are always like, money is energy, but no one's actually explaining it? I got your back. I'm going to explain it to you with a diagram, possibly. So we got to get our being aligned. If the first order of creation is be, we got to get our being aligned first, okay? It's literally laid out in the Bible. This is the universal spiritual principles, okay? Be fruitful, do multiply, have dominion. I'm loving this conversation. Thank you for this. Of course, I love Maria. Be, do, have. Maria's a 5-1 manifestor. Of course, she enjoys this. I'm like surrounded by a lot of manifestors and fine lines and all the things, but we're definitely different. We're a little bit different. So, okay, so again, what I wanted to say. So then part two, we're going to talk about your frequency. And we're going to first start to renew the mind, as the Bible says, renew your mind so that you do not conform to the limited paradigm of society. So when you look at people who have what you want, again, remember this, the only difference, because we are all made in the image of God. We are all children of God. We all have source consciousness dwelling within us. We are gifted differently because our soul was like, hey, I want this body. I want to have this parent. I'm going to have a soul contract with this person. I'm going to have a soul contract with this arch nemesis so I can learn this thing. Like we chose this. We chose this life. We really did to have this human experience. We chose our lessons, because otherwise, if we didn't have hard things, we wouldn't evolve. So we came to this planet and we knew we were going to create, but then we forgot because we were all brainwashed by society. But the only difference between you and the people that you see that have what you want, that you think are better than you and they're richer and all this thing, there's nothing different. It's just a state of consciousness. That is it. That's the only difference. You change your state of consciousness, you change your energetic field, you start taking action differently, you change your whole life. We're going to renew the mind, okay? So it always starts with awareness. Like this is the biggest thing first, is to always have awareness. Like what are your limiting beliefs? What do you believe right now? What are you thinking that you lack, that someone's different than you, okay? And the other thing I wanted to share too, and I wrote this up, but I guess you guys can't see it. It says, my projections is my perception. Okay. So again, on the inside, whatever I'm projecting, I'm going to perceive. This is why when people get in this loop of my little girl here, when we get in this loop, if I'm constantly perceiving scarcity, there's not enough love, I'm going to keep seeing it because my projection is my perception. I'm going to keep seeing it, right? So we're going to have to break out here, which I'm going to show you how to do that. But your projections, your consciousness, what you believe, your belief systems, your internal paradigm, you perceive, and then you get evidence, right? And evidence creates more manifestations. So we are 100% responsible for what we see. After we're out of our parents' like caregiving, because technically you do manifest with your parents, right? They decide what you get and what you don't get. But once we are conscious, our whole projections, everything we're perceiving, what we think we're capable of is us. So we all currently have a state of consciousness, and it is creating, attracting, and we're perceiving the experiences and drawing them in that we currently have. And again, so when I'm saying state of consciousness, if you're not really sure what this means, again, this is like your programming, your conditioning, your belief systems, it's your internal paradigm, okay? So if we think of like the biggest lie programming that's taught to people is scarcity. This is why very, very few people are really wildly wealthy. And most people, I think I saw a stat. I swear like 2% of the world even makes six figures. Like this is how much scarcity programming runs in our world, right? So if you look at my guy here, us, the little girl here, okay? So if she is scarcity, I know we can't see this, scarcity programming, okay? She feels it, she feels lack, and then she's going to see the lack, and then she's going to get more evidence, and then she's going to feel more lack and scarcity, not enough, and she's just going to keep being in this loop, okay? Most of the world lives in a paradigm and state of consciousness of scarcity. We've been taught. It's like the narrative. It's the narrative. I actually started thinking about even the movies I used to watch as a child. Oh my gosh, it's in everything. The narrative in society is money is limited, opportunities are limited, big wealth is only reserved for special people, lucky people, you have to be highly educated. There's all these lies, okay? And you've been programmed them literally even through children's movies. This is how scary it is, okay? Like through your parents too, and then you watch them, right? We're not going to get into all the conditioning. I'm sure a lot of you are in self-development. You understand how the subconscious mind works, especially from when you're little. It's like everything that you saw, that you were told. You know what I mean? Even if you were told that you were always going to be stupid, like you're going to leave in this loop. I'm stupid, and then you're going to get evidence of someone calling you stupid. Oh, more evidence, and then you keep looping, 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 right? But these are lies, okay? These are paradigms again. These are limiting stories, okay? You've been programmed with them. It's is not true. It is a lie, okay? It's like it's an illusion, okay? And the world creates recessions, and then people say things like I can't afford it, like, and then we're constantly then, oh, look, it's too expensive, and then we keep telling ourselves, and then we keep finding evidence, and we're looping and we're looping. Physical reality is just constantly mirroring back to you what your state of consciousness is because you accept it as truth. You accepted money is hard to make, but there's not enough opportunities. There's a recession. Only beautiful, wealthy, rich, success like people who grew up in great families get to have it all. It's like you're in a loop, okay? And so you're projecting and then you're perceiving it. And yet, okay, around our guy here, okay? I know it's hard to see, but I'm going to do another thing. There's literally everywhere. You can look at atoms. I believe in string theory now. You're surrounded by a field of possibility. Like we got to exit into here, okay? But you're not perceiving any sort of actual possibilities because your whole paradigm is of lack, right? And then you're going to keep seeing it. And then the hardest part is too when you're doing this work is like I told you guys, you're in a circumstance. So then you're going to get this bill, you're going to get this thing, and it's going to be like, well, it's not working. And then you are being a slave to your circumstance. But you will never, ever, and this is the thing why I wanted to show you this loop thing, okay? So if I draw it again, like this is you, okay? And you whatever your limiting belief is like you cannot perceive anything here like you can't perceive any ideas desires because you're just constantly going into this loop like you can't perceive beyond the loop, okay? This is a feedback loop. This is what we talk about, the subconscious mind, right? You can't see past it because you believe it, you feel it, you're getting evidence of it, it's solidifying more of your beliefs, right? But we dwell in potentiality. You got to be able to be so good to see past your circumstance. And I'm going to give you some awesome wisdom to help you do that because I had to get to that loop. Like, first of all, I'm like a Polish immigrant. I'm a first generation immigrant. Both my parents were working like two, three jobs. I watched them hustle, I watched them stress. Like, that was my whole reality. And it was like money's not limited. It's like only for the rich. Like it just like so I had to get out of this. Like, and trust me, that's why I ended up in like a lot of debt, a lot of chaos in my life. But the loop is an illusion. Okay. And we see this with animals, by the way. Like there's so many cool experiments. Like you ever heard the flea experiment? So they'll take a flea can jump, don't quote me on this. I don't know, like 7 feet or something like that, but something like, we'll just say 7 feet. Okay. But if they take baby fleas and they put them in a jar with their adult parents that are jumping up and down between like a jar, now their paradigm is I can only jump this much. And when they release the baby fleas, they don't jump 7 feet. They just keep jumping the same height as the jar because that is the loop they're in. We see this even with elephants. Elephants are so strong, but when they get tied up and they get beaten and then like they're forced to grow up tied up, like they will never try to escape because their loop is I'm stuck. I'm weak. I am a slave to my circumstance, right? And so like the loop literally prevents you from seeing possibility, like the potential. So it's an illusion, okay? The loop is an illusion. So again, in the Bible, renew your mind, okay? We need to detach from the illusion. We need to break out of the loop. We need to renew our mind. We need to use our mental faculties to look beyond the circumstances because we have God consciousness dwelling within us. We have been given mental faculties for a reason. It's the portal. It's the bridge. Hello, Betty. I'm so happy you're here. Hi, hi. 5 1s in the house, surrounded by sea of possibilities. Okay. We can imagine, we can see things, we can visualize things like it is the portal, okay, into collecting the ideas, the possibilities to transform them in our physical realm. So we got to break the illusion. We got to break the limiting paradigm. And this means we literally need a whole paradigm shift in consciousness. This is why I love this work because I didn't even know this stuff existed before I started doing this work. Okay. So, breaking out of the feedback loop. The first thing is like you have to be aware, right? You got to start really paying attention to your thoughts. Like, how do you react when you look at your bank account? How do you react when you're single and you want to date people? Is the thoughts like, oh, love is limited. There's not enough guys. All the good ones are taken, which is lies. Like, and you know this is lies because if you see people being madly in love who came from the worst, divorces, finding love for the first, like it exists and it exists for you, but you're not perceiving that, and you're gonna find evidence of that because if you're projecting there is lack of love, what are you gonna find? Lack of love. You're gonna find horrible like men or women that match your own internal consciousness, right? So first it's awareness. It's like, what do I believe about this? What do I believe about my potential, my bank account, my business, my appearance, my, finding the love of my life, whatever it is. You gotta like, oh, I hate when I get that on my lipstick. Sorry, guys. I had to fix that. But like, what are you aware of? And then it's really remembering I am a soul, a spirit, having a human experience. It is in the Bible that I have literally God consciousness dwelling within me. I am the creator of my reality. We have quantum physics proving this. We have placebo effects. Our mind is so, so powerful. And then it's really having like the faith that possibilities exist for you. Because this is the thing, is like, for example, like if you're saying there's no love, like, but that's a lie because if you got to look around and see people are madly in love, people who couldn't find people and then they found love of their lives. You got to see people, like if you're saying you're stuck with the body that you have, you've had generational obesity, you got to find people like expanders, people that are like, no, I broke out of this because it's possible. And so that's possible for me. It's possible for them. It's possible for me. Right. But we have to use also our imagination because we are created equal. No one is less of a creator than you are. We're just gifted different things because our soul chose that. Your soul chose your body. It chose the gifts you have. I believe like even in human design or Gen Keys, we chose like this is the role I want to play here, right? But lack, not enough love, money's limited, there's a recession, like, it's bullshit. Why do some people have monies? Why are people breaking through? Why are people still making sales? Like I saw entrepreneurs being like, oh, people aren't buying. Yes, they are. They're buying in my world. They're buying in my mentor's world all the time. It's like, what do you believe's possible? If you believe that no one is, well, you're going to see it, and then your own projection is going to perceive that. But if it was true that that didn't exist, you wouldn't see people having, being, doing the things you want. The only difference between the person that has what you want is your state of consciousness. That's it. You're in a loop, okay? And so the first thing is awareness, and then you got to renew our mind, which is reprogramming your mind, your subconscious to see possibilities, to think differently. Your thoughts are creative. I'm not going to get into subconscious reprogramming with you guys. Like I have a bunch of courses. Like I just did a recent one called Recode. It's $111. I think it's 3 modules. I literally teach you the exact tools that I used and still use to reprogram my subconscious mind. I literally changed even my physical appearance. You can get it at my membership. We go first too. It's $111, no commitment, and I'm launching courses all the time. There's a brand new one, and there's gonna be out of this world amazing around money. So you gotta reprogram your subconscious mind. You can purchase Recode for $111. You can learn there, but it covers all the tools. But all transformation starts with awareness because, like, how can you change something you're not aware of? It's like the pioneer of the subconscious mind was who? Carl Jung. What did he say? Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it faith. You'll stay in the freaking loop. And we don't want to stay in the loop because this is bullshit. This is a lie. This is the illusion. It's like a flea in a jar. You can jump 10 feet. You can be a multimillionaire. You can find the love of your life. You can change your physical appearance. It is all possible. But you don't believe it right now because you're in the loop. All thoughts are creative. And the sad, scary part is 90% of them are subconscious, and then 80% are like negative. So it's like lack, limitation. But again, because we're constantly programmed with scarcity in our world, even more than ever right now. But there's a reason for that, because there's a great awakening coming, and I'm really excited for that. So just let's ride this beautiful bridge year because things are going to get really fun. So when you catch yourself having a limiting thought, fear, lack, scarcity, you got to touch. And this, the only way you catch it, by the way, is you feel it, right? So if we're having all these thoughts, they say like 70,000 thoughts a day, you go on autopilot. This is why you can drive somewhere and you're like, oh my God, I just drove for a half an hour. How the hell did I get here? I don't know. It was somewhere in my subconscious, right? Like you are not aware of it. But the moments that you are is when you start feeling bad, right? Then you're like, whoa, I don't feel good. Why? Oh, I'm thinking worry, stress, lack. Check your thoughts. Because awareness, usually it's your feelings. When you're not feeling good, you check your thoughts, and now you have the power of interruption. It takes conscious power to change your thoughts because thoughts are creative. So the only point of time that you have a chance to catch your limiting thoughts, your old paradigm, is to notice how bad you're feeling, check your thoughts, and now you get to interrupt the feedback loop, okay? And the interrupting of the feedback loop is right, like right. If we're just kind of going like this, I see lack, I feel lack, I'm not good enough. Oh, people, like if you're not confident, then you're gonna see it. No one's telling me I'm confident. The thing with the loop, I'm actually erase this. The thing with the loop, though, right? So this is us, okay? Is it's a loop and there is a breaking point and we want to get the heck out of this loop. So it's like, okay, I'm noticing that I am feeling negative thoughts. Wait, I'm a conscious creator. I live in a sea of possibility and potentiality. Wait, there's other people, possibilities. Oh my God, there's other people doing what I have, right? And then you're choosing to say, even though right now I'm feeling lack and in my circumstance I'm lack, I've been creating this. This has been my paradigm, and now I'm choosing to feel abundant. I'm choosing to see abundance. And I'm going to take you through this, but you got to understand you got to break that loop through interruption. If you don't interrupt it and you're just like, I'm going to continue with the lack, you stay in this illusion forever. Okay? I know even Tony Robbins always says this too. He's like, stop focusing on what you're afraid of and start focusing on where you're going. You got to stop focusing on the current circumstances because the current circumstance is only the result of your old programming. But we get to break this. Okay? You've just been looping these things and you got to interrupt it and be like, even though I'm choosing to understand that I'm a conscious creator, I'm going to focus on the things that I want. And money is easy and money does happen and love is easy. Honestly, the hardest part about this work is as you're embodying new ways of thinking, new ways of seeing, really owning that you're a creator is being your new self in the old reality when you're still surrounded by your old circumstances. This is where people wobble. This is where people give up because the 3D, like it takes a while, right? You're using your imagination, you're interrupting your thoughts. You're like, I don't believe in this anymore. It gets to be easy. I'm going to learn. I am learning. I am becoming. And so your 3D takes a little while to catch up, right? Because it's manifesting. You're bringing in the atoms, they're collapsing, you're observing them. But your current life is only evidence of your past thinking. So you got to be okay with being your new self, your new state of consciousness while you're still in the old reality. This is the biggest test. But we have power over our circumstances. We are the creators. This is why, since the beginning of my career, I've always taught my clients like life is not happening to you. Life is happening for you. It's happening for your best outcomes. It's like you are projecting that out there. You got to have patience. This is where like spirituality principles like patience, surrender, walk with faith, not by sight, also in the Bible. While you're embodying this new state of consciousness, while you're in your old reality, still things are still going to show up from your old thinking, but it's like, it's okay. This is my old thinking. My greatest life is coming. Like, I trust in this. I believe in this. Okay. So we got to break out of the loop. We got to start seeing possibility. So the way that we see possibility and we break out of the loops, right? Break out of the loops is really, honestly, you know what this is? We need new evidence. So, new evidence, and I've talked about this forever, I think is the biggest piece of my breaking through and believing that this business could exist and I could attract money and all the things, was finding evidence through expanders. We need new evidence to break out of the loop because otherwise you don't believe it's possible. I would never, honestly, I would never believe that I could have this business, like never using a paid ad, never selling to someone, like pushing someone, never chasing people, doing all these things that people told me to do, and literally just like, here's me, here's my post, and trusting people are coming, and the people came and everything changed. I wouldn't have believed that unless I saw other mentors do it, other expanders do it. Because new possibility to see people doing something that you never thought was possible creates new thoughts. And the second that you say, if it can happen to them, it can happen for me, you start breaking out of the loop. You start seeing a whole new world, okay? Humans do need the trailblazers. Some of us are trailblazers. We're going to have to pave the path for people. We're going to have to go defy the odds. But most of society are looking up to people who are defying the odds, the expanders who are paying new paths, new possibilities for others. And this is what we see with human history, okay? So, for example, I've written posts about this many times, but I think it was 1954. The 4 minute mile was always thought to be so impossible by humans. It was like beyond human comprehension. Every single human thought before 1954, it is impossible a human can run a 4 minute mile until 1954, one man, I forget his name, achieved it. And then literally, I don't know how many years, but I'm thinking a couple years, don't quote me, but a couple years later, I know that it was 16 other runners broke that record. Something that used to be impossible for humans to do. But what happened? What happened? Was there a sudden growth in human evolution? Did the genetic engineering of a human body all of a sudden change and we have all these super fast humans? No. The basic human equipment stayed the same. What changed? The mental model. What changed was one human defied the odds. He saw possibility. I guarantee this person was like, I see it happening. And he tapped into the possibility, and the universe was like, you're going to do it. And then he did it, and he expanded everybody in possibility. It's like, holy macaroni. Like, so all the past runners who had a state of consciousness, like, it's not possible, saw one person do it. It expanded them to see possibility. They exited the loop. They exited the loop. They changed their state of consciousness. If it's possible for him, it's possible for me. And then they broke out of that loop of limitation. And then now, I think maybe there's another, like, probably world record that has happened. But what we used to think as a human race, like, was not possible, one person defied the odd. There was a trailblazer, and he expanded everybody into possibility. And then boom, 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 everybody started doing it. It happens all the time in so many industries. Grateful for the state of abundance, trailblazer, yeah. And today, thousands of people. Because now it's become a collective accepted belief, an accepted collective paradigm, a state of consciousness. So expanders, people who've defied the odds. What is so important for you is like whatever it is that you're manifesting, you got to go out there and you can ask God, universe. This is how you got to ask universe, especially before you go to bed. Your subconscious, trust me, goes and speaks to God, universe, source. You got to ask God, universe, send me my expander. Send me the person that is going to help me break out of my loop and into possibility. Show me, let's say your paradigm is like, I don't believe I can become a multimillionaire without paid ads. Show me the mentor who's doing it. I don't believe that I can find love because, let's say, your whole childhood was everybody got divorced and horrible relationships. Find me the expander that showed me that came from my similar background, who broke and defied the odds. Show me people who, let's say you're not educated and your whole paradigm is I will never be rich and successful because society says if you're not educated and you didn't graduate high school, you'll never be a multimillionaire and worthy and blah, blah, blah. But then you say, God, universe, send me the person who has broken three. And then boom, the mentor shows up. Boom, the expander shows up. You got to ask. You got to continue to like manifest those people because I'm such an expander for so many people. So many of my clients come with similar stories. Like if you're new to my world, like it was like I think 8 years ago now. Like I became a single mom, very toxic relationship, left everything. I was unemployed at the time, heartbroken. I had like $82,000 worth of debt. Okay, and like it was bad. I moved into a low income apartment, and I started doing this work right before I left. I started doing like gratitude and stuff like that, and it was changing the way I was feeling about myself. Okay, so I started feeling better. I started manifesting free copies, things like that. I'm like, oh my God, what if I can do a whole coaching business like this? And I asked universe, God, send me a mentor, and I found the mentors that literally went from nothing, had no high school education, became multimillionaires, no paid ads, never did sales calls, never pushed people. I'm like, I want to learn, and so then I invested more money, took a line of credit, and I started just to surround myself with people who were defying the odds. When you are surrounded by people who defy the odds, you believe it because it's happening around you. If it's possible for them, it's possible for me. This is why we often hear like you are the five people you hang out with. If everybody around you is limited, how it's going to be so impossible for you to break through. But I love social media because social media has so many expanders. That's why I love people listening to people's stories. I love reading books. So expanders are people for you, especially. You want to look for people and ask God, universe, send me the person who was in my circumstance where I'm not believing I can get out of this, show me the person who broke through. But expanders are people who defied odds, who quantum leap. They show you how to live life and do it the way you wanted to do when you didn't believe it. They show you that opportunities are not limited. They show you that money is easy, like that you can change your reality. It's like, God, universe, I come from a generation of obesity. Show me the person who broke through. And then like Lori Harder shows up. Like you ask, they show up. It's like when the student is ready, the teacher appears. Always. So 8 years ago, I didn't even know the coaching industry. 9 years ago, I didn't even know the coaching industry existed. And I was gonna go back to school again. I'm like, because I always knew, I'm like, I took psychology. I'm like, I always wanted to help people. I knew that for a fact. But I'm like, I want to be limitless. I want to be rich. I want to be a millionaire. I want to change people's lives. And I want to push people. I don't want to pay for paid ads. And then all like the mentors showed up, people making 6-figure months, 7-figure months, like 8-figure businesses through feminine energetics. I'm like, I need this. So the possibility expanded me. I found mentors. I shifted my consciousness. I'm like, money is easy. Opportunities are always flowing. Money comes to me always. Like I get to craft a whole business that's wildly successful, make multiply 5-figure months easily by showing up with my craft and my energy. I never have to chase, and I have accomplished all of that. But I didn't believe in that until I found the expanders who show me possibility. I broke out of my loop. I'm like, out of this loop. Money's not limited. Money is not hard. You don't need to be coming from a successful, you don't need to have a network, none of that crap that you believe in, whatever your limiting beliefs are, it does not exist. It's an illusion. People are always defying the odds and you have to find them. And now I've created programs and I'm teaching you guys this stuff. But like, if you believe money is hard, you will constantly find evidence of that. You got to literally reframe it. It sounds crazy, but this is it. It's like money gets to be easy. And God, universe is going to show me the mentor, the teacher, my expander that's going to help me do this. The possibility expanded me. Yes. My clients are doing it too. And then one of the things that expanded me was this work. And this is why I'm so like most passionate about this work more than anything. I teach on everything. Again, if you understand human design, I'm a manager and I study everything. I have programs on everything. But the thing that I'm most passionate about is like this, like helping people break through out of their paradigms. Like you get to reinvent yourself. You get to change your reality. It doesn't matter how old you are, what your circumstance, you get to change your whole life. And I have so many stories from people who broke through and defied the odds. It's like, oh my gosh. But the thing that changed my life is like, I have God consciousness. We are all created equal. And when I read the Bible now, I get like goosebumps because I'm like, oh my God, it's like laid out in there too. But I understand how to co-create the universe. And I was shown by other mentors and other expanders. And I have a passion and purpose. Like imagine being paid to do what you love to study. Like, oh my gosh, it's the greatest feeling in the world. But I didn't know that existed. I thought I had to go get my PhD, be in school forever, be limited in a little office. And it's like, oh my God, thank God for social media. It's like, and one of my favorite passages for like on faith and co-creating with God is with man, this is impossible, but not with God. For all things are possible with God. And that has always stuck with me because here's another paradigm that we get stuck in with a loop. We get stuck in the loop paradigm of believing that we're on our own, that everything that you want, you got to create. But the truth is, you get to co-create with the universe. Like when I got expanded into manifestation and learning the universal law, especially feminine energy, I did not understand feminine energy at all. I thought like your mom was feminine energy, which she wasn't. She was masculine. Mothering energy is masculine energy. But until I learned that, oh my gosh, everything in my life changed because I was like, I don't have to hustle. I don't have to chase. I don't have to do anything alone. I literally get to just like show up with an offer and trust that God universe is gonna send me the people. Like it changed my life. And tomorrow I'm going to be launching something called Wealthy from Within. It's mastering the energy of money. It's about identity work on really embodying this kind of energy. If you want to honestly master the frequency of money in a way that you've never heard, money is energy. We'll talk a little bit about it in day 2, but I'll teach you how I literally make multiple 5 figures a month without a sales ad, without chasing, without pushing through feminine energetics because Nothing is impossible with God. When you really live by this, nothing is impossible when you work with the universal laws. Everything is possible. And so it changed my paradigm of always thinking of hustle. I have to prove, I have to push. And this is why we get so burnt out when wealth is truly built from the inside out. It really is. And so breaking out of my loop of masculine energy and needing evidence changed my freaking life. We need new stories. You need new stories. If you are having a hard time breaking out of your loop, you got to ask today, God, universe, send me the person who defied the odds, who broke through, that I can calibrate to. Show me the expander, showing me possibilities that the thing that I want, it is exists. Or can't find them, then you're the one. You got to be the trailblazer. You got to pave the path. But if I can do this, you can do this. My clients are doing this. Like Jackie's on here. She's one of my clients. She's in my inner circle membership. Like she literally like will post something about one of her offers. She's like 14 signups. It's like we don't have to chase people. This is another paradigm is chase people, do the bro marketing. You don't have to do that. We just need new stories. We need people who defy the odds, or literally you just need to believe that it's possible. Anything is possible. We are this human, okay, with this aura, and everywhere around us is infinite possibilities. We're in a sea of possibilities. So one of your first experiments that I want you to do is going to be a whole bunch. And I'll probably write a little homework. I'll put it in the YouTube little comment thing and in the guide section. But this is what I desire for all of it. You got to first clean up your social media. Stop watching the news. I don't even know why anyone watches the news. It is like literally people reading something and trying to scare you into fear, scarcity, and lack. You have to be so conscious of in the movies you watch. My life changed too when I stopped watching TV and all I watched was literally like reading books about empowering people, quantum physics, YouTube videos, like getting into mentorship because being surrounded by people who are breaking free changes your freaking life. Until you believe it, it won't happen. So you got to clean up your social media. Stop freaking watching movies about scarcity, shows, the news, social like the media. Like seriously, all it does is program you with scarcity, limitations, recessions, fear, and then when we look at history, there's been tons of recessions and people break through, become homeless to multimillionaires. Like, get off mainstream programming, getting coaching containers, listen to things like that, read more books, stay away from people who love to gossip and scare the crap out of you because you will start thinking it, and thoughts are creative. And our energetic field, by the way, like we all have this aura. My shitty drawing here, my lips balm. We have this aura, and then people here with their aura impact our aura. Okay, we get impacted. Sorry about my drawing. I used to be a really great artist, by the way. Now it's stick figures. This is what happens when you start practicing your craft. But you got to pay attention to what you're calibrating, who you're listening to, what you're consuming. Instead, what I would desire for you is why don't you for 40 days straight stop watching TV? It is 111. Be brave, okay? Had this for a long time. You got to stop. Like for 40 days, what if you did an experiment where you read books about empowerment? You went on my YouTube channel, binged all my master classes. You literally actually joined coaching containers, listened to everything We Go First membership that I have. Like there's tons of things in there. You follow people who broke through, defied the odds. You watch YouTube's on empowerment. Like you get into paid containers about coaching. Watch in 40 days what starts happening in your life because you start changing your state of consciousness. Like this is the thing where I cannot prove how it happens, but the more you see it, the more you believe it, the more you perceive it. Your projection creates the perception, but you cannot perceive outside your little loop here, okay? Because you're in this loop, you will never perceive anything outside of that if you're not expanded beyond it. And the reason we've been given this is the second piece, is you also need to use your mind to imagine a greater life for yourself. This is the portal. This is the bridge that takes you, that takes possibilities, your desires, and brings them to your physical reality. This is how you connect with God consciousness. You got to use your imagination. It's in the Bible. You got to visualize. You got to dream. You got to focus on what you want. The mind is the bridge, it's the portal. We've been given this ability over every animal in the animal kingdom for a reason. Our imagination is our greatest tool, but we rarely use our imagination. we did as kids, and now we use our imagination to think of the worst things that could happen to us. Like that's what we use our imagination on. And then we're wondering, why is shitty things always showing up for us? I don't know, because you keep imagining horrible things happening to you. When was the last time you actually dreamed of your dream life? When was the last time you used your imagination to entangle with love and success and impact and seeing yourself on a billboard, whatever it is, being a multi-millionaire? When was the last time you did that? Probably zero, most people. They're constantly stressing. They constantly focus on the world, the programming of TV. They're constantly just scrolling, comparing, negativity, lack, fear, sorry, looping, looping, looping. Like that's all we're doing. And so here's the thing. It is important to use your imagination. And you don't have to do this like big visualization. You can just literally just see yourself on a beach. You can see yourself celebrating $1 million a year, whatever it is, right? You don't have to like get every detail. We do this differently, all of us. But you do got to entangle with your desires. You got to entangle about like, oh, imagine this. Do you know why visualization and imagination is also really hard for a lot of people? And why is it so hard for us to just sit calmly and do this? Well, this leads me into part two of the being. Okay. So the part one was like change your state of consciousness, find expanders, see possibility. Okay. You got to change your belief systems. You got to change your thoughts. Okay. With the reality that you want. You got to go from scarcity to like, no, there's abundance. I do have enough. Stop with the lack crap. Okay. But part two in the being formula, so be, do, have, right? So part one is change your state of consciousness, your thoughts, your limiting beliefs. Okay. Got to break out of the loop, see possibility. But part two is aligning your emotions and your energy. Okay. In the Bible, I love this quote, but in the Bible it says, seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all the things will be added onto you. What does this mean? This means prioritize love and gratitude and enoughness over being in survival mode. Seek first the kingdom of God, love, and all of his righteousness will be added to you, inner to outer, okay? So your inner state of like emotional state of love, gratitude, feeling abundant, feeling excited, bliss are magnetic for those experiences in this 3D realm, okay? But what is most of the population in? Most of the population is in survival mode. They're in fear, they're in scarcity, they're in lack, they're dysregulated in their nervous system. And when you are dysregulating your nervous system, it's like, wish it wasn't so blurry. But anyways, I'm gonna do something else later. Okay, if you have this aura, okay, so here's your aura. If this is all like really of lack, of scarcity, of survival, your nervous system regulated, like it is tight. You're not letting your in desire. So think about this. If this was your little desires here, which are like love, wealth, okay, joy, okay, these are all your like to see possibilities all around you, okay, because we're surrounded by them. Quantum physics proves that if you're tight here of lack, scarcity, these cannot come into you, okay? They just can't even touch. You're not an energetic match, okay? You are not an energetic match for love, abundance. This is a bunch of scribbles, but I think you guys get it. You're not an energetic match for love, joy, bliss, because you are like literally like this tight auric field of negativity, of lack. Your nervous system is dysregulated. And this is why we say in spirituality, a calm nervous system is a match. It's a match for receiving because you're calm, you're open. But when you're tight and your nervous system is dysregulated and you are of lack, stress, fear, you're not open to receiving. How can you be an energetic match for this little love frequency that's dwelling around you when you are fear, stress? And so here's the thing too, is this is why nervous system regulation is so important. Most of the world is in survival mode. They're stressed, they're hustling, they're burnt out, they're chasing, they're in fear. And when you are dysregulated, you're actually zapping a lot of your creative energy. And it is impossible to sit down and try to visualize and imagine your dream life when you're dysregulated. Like a lot of times, whenever I talk to someone, they come into my world and they're saying, I don't even know what I want. Do you want to know why people don't know what they want? Because they're so dysregulated in survival mode and so burnt out you can't creatively think about what you want because you're so dysregulated and you're so burnt out. When we're chasing, hustling, fear, lack, stress, like we are literally zapping our energy. And so then we don't have the energy to dream our dream life. We don't even know what we want. We don't even have the patience to sit down. We're so burnt out. We're so dysregulated. We're so in scarcity. And so we have no energy. We can't literally visualize. It's impossible to visualize and imagine and even know what you want when you are dysregulated, when you are in constant survival mode. There's no energy there. And so it is important that you feel safe. You have to feel safe. So, one thing I will say, if you are someone who's really dysregulated, you have a lot of trauma. So, like, even if I told you to meditate or do breath work, you can't because you're so dysregulated. There's a lot of trauma. Get a trauma informed coach, go see a therapist, release the shame, do somatic healing, forgiveness work. Like, you got to do that deep work because it's all in your aura. Like, you have an energy field, okay, surrounded you. This is like literally science proves this. And so, your energy field is of shame, scarcity, like trauma, like there's no way you can tap into love, bliss. There's no way that like good things can come to you. There's no way you can even sit and meditate. And this is where like if you have serious trauma, go talk to a therapist, do somatic healing, get a trauma informed coach. Most of the population though is just dysregulated and they don't because the thing, if you don't feel safe in your body, you can't even feel enough. How can you tap into abundance? You can't. We have to first feel really safe in our body so that way then we can feel and see like there is enough and we can trust and start feeling abundance. But the first step is always you got to feel safe in your body. So if you're dysregulated and you're in survival mode, which again, you know why a lot of people are in survival mode? Again, it's this whole paradigm of our society. We bought into the hustle culture. It's all about chasing, grinding, proving, rushing, overthinking also is survival mode. It's a very masculine energy thing to do because you're in your mind and not in your body. So masculine energy in our society is put on a pedestal, right? And this is why people get in survival mode because they're chasing, proving, rushing, or they're overthinking a lot. And then how do you have energy to imagine? How do you have energy to like actually think about what you want, to do scripting, to do future pacing, all these awesome modalities to manifest? You can't. So part of getting out of survival mode and regulating your nervous system is to feel safe. And the way that we do that is you got to drop in your feminine energy. You got to get into goddess mode, okay? Because feminine energy, it's not valued in our society. It's seen as inconvenient, it's seen as lazy, but it's the feminine that receives. In the masculine, you're doing, you're thinking, you're chasing, you're proving. In the feminine, our nervous system is open to receiving. So all those infinite potential waves and atoms are coming in, the things your desires, you're open to receiving. And here's the other thing. So a lot of people are like, well, money's hard. But the truth is, it's not because you have creativity. You have value. We're going to talk more about money is energy in the next call, but you have creative gifts. You have your imagination and you have solutions to where you're saying money's hard for you. But the reason those ideas aren't coming through you again is because you're in survival mode. Okay. The ideas over here are flowing that you can make money from. But you think money's hard, so you're in the loop. You can't even perceive the ideas. And then on top of it, because you're in survival mode, overthinking, dysregulated, how are you going to receive the ideas? God, universe is like, I got an idea for you. I got $1 million idea for you. I got the solution to your problem. But you can't see it because we cannot perceive possibilities, ideas, solutions from a dysregulated nervous system. Also, when we're overthinking, and when obviously we're in a state of consciousness that everything is scarcity, everything's limited, you cannot perceive outside of that, right? So you have to calm your nervous system. You have to feel safe. Your aura is very, very magnetic. So, like I said, I am a first generation immigrant. My parents hustled really hard. My paradigm is like, you have to hustle. My programming was hustle, prove, chase, perform, constantly overthinking. So then I was constantly stressing, drinking lots of coffee, blasting techno music, trying to get through the day, overstimulated, which made me more dysregulated. No wonder I always felt burnt out. I never entangled with my desire. You know how important desire is? It's so important to think about your desires and entangle them. But I never use that because I'm constantly stressed, because I'm constantly burnt out, because I'm constantly overthinking in my head. My intuition can't come through. Our intuition, again, the feminine energy is the one that receives the idea, the source consciousness ideas. Every issue you have, there's a solution dwelling around you, but you can't see it because you're either overthinking in your head, doing something, completely burnt out, or you're just looping. It's hard, it's lack, see lack. Oh, look, there's another bill. Oh, look, it's hard. Oh, another person told me recession's here. Like you're in the loop. So I never had energy to think about what I want. I didn't even know that I was a creator. I just responded. I was brainwashed like everybody else, just respond. Life happens to you. You're just this victim to your circumstance. I was a slave to my circumstance, constantly dysregulated, constantly stressed, burnt out, in my head, overthinking. Where was I ever going to get? Where was I going to channel those desires? Where was the ideas going to come from? Never. Hustling a lot. Rushing keeps you in survivor mode. When you're in your head a lot, you can't think. You can't receive the intuition. And our intuition is so powerful. Feminine energy changed my life when I learned how to actually lean back. Okay. I have a program called Goddess Code. It's coming in September, a new round. Get your butt in there if you do not understand feminine energy because we go through it all and emotional intelligence. But you are surrounded by desires, by bliss, by experiences. They're floating all around you. But when your little aura is like hard because you're in scarcity, dysregulated, and you're in your head overthinking, it can't come through. It just keeps bumping you on the head. Hello, God consciousness trying to come through, but you can't perceive it. You can't perceive past your limited programming, and especially if you're overthinking. Feminine energy. So what is feminine energy? Slow down. Slow down, okay? Okay, even the formula be, do, have. First, you must be. You must be calm in your nervous system. You must entangle with things. Then you get an idea from the universe. Then you do. Then you have. Okay, I'm gonna break this down more over the next couple days, but you gotta slow down. You have to feel safe in your nervous system. You gotta be able to breathe, do breath work. You gotta say, I feel safe. I have a home. I have money. My bills are paid. I have enough because the thing is, like, A, your intuition can't come in here, but overthinking and then always being dysregulated. So I'm gonna show you guys something else. Eh, maybe I'll give you context first. But we also have an emotional scale tone. So true, our imagination creation mood. Yes, hello, Melina. I'm so happy that you're here. Okay, so again, okay with man, and this is why I like that quote, with man is things are impossible, but with God, everything is possible. So when you only live in masculine energy, you believe you have to do everything yourself. But God wants to come and support you. Your intuition is like, I have ideas. I have things you can do. Like, I can make you millions, but you're not open to it, right? Because you think you got to do it. So you got to get out of the state of consciousness that you have to do everything your own. You are so supported. Everything is possible with God. This is why balancing your masculine and feminine energy is so important, that God always has your back. But your job as the human right now is to really realize I am in limited programming state of consciousness. I am dysregulated. I need to start feeling safe in my body. You got to drop into your feminine. You got to meditate. You got to do breath work. Literally lay out in the sun today if there's sun outside today and get sun on your face. Hug your pets. Then you are open to receiving and an idea is going to pop in. People are always asking me, Alina, how do every month you have like 2 new programs, things coming out? Like, where do you get these ideas? Because I'm in feminine energy. Do you think ideas come to me when I'm doing things? No, it's when I'm leaning in the sun. It's when I'm enjoying. It's when I'm meditating. It's when I'm doing breath work. It's all, then all of a sudden it's like, ding, ding, oh, ideas. The ideas come. It's like, I want to make a 6-figure month, okay? And then I'm laying in the sun, relaxed, calm, entangling with desires. Boom, idea comes. And then I do. And then I create. And then I receive. But the receiving comes from the feminine energy. Meditation is really powerful If you can get your butt to sit down for a few minutes a day, even if in the sun, let the sun go on your face, calm yourself, you're connecting with the spiritual plane. It's the portal. Okay. And then the ideas come in, the intuition. You have a problem right now, you meditate, you calm your nervous system, and then an idea comes in. Safety first, then you move up the emotional scale tone. So, okay, hold on. Anyways, even if it's blurry, it's fine. Okay. I think you guys have heard of the emotional scale tone. Okay. So I'm going to put little thing here. All right. So high frequencies, and this is like God consciousness. Okay. Come on. Okay. This is where you have creativity. These are your highest form of emotions. Okay. This is love, freedom, bliss, joy, gratitude, all the great feelings, okay, that we have. That's horrible. Whatever. You guys are listening to me, okay? So these are all like high frequency emotions, okay? The low frequency emotions here are shame, fear, lack, scarcity. Okay? This is where like your ego gets you. Boop. Ego, okay? Ego, and then if you guys like to use terms like the devil, I mostly love to say ego, but I speak all languages for all you guys. This is your ego. This is where the devil gets you and sways you. Not enough. I'm not good enough. All of these are low frequencies. And when you're in these low frequencies, again, if we think about we're surrounded by a sea of possibilities of joy, love, bliss, nothing can reach you here. Nothing can reach you here. This is why forgiveness work is so important. This is why doing shame work is so important. This is why regulating nervous system is important because you know what the scary part about this is? When you're in these low frequencies, so fear, you feel shame, not enough, this is where your ego and the devil come to you. Okay. And if this is like literally if you believe in entities and stuff like that, that's where they come through. The devil, the ego will tell you you're not good enough. You're a loser. You're stupid. You're never going to get there. You don't have a high school degree. You are blah, 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 ugly. You like all the horrible things. These are not your thoughts. Like these are not your spiritual God consciousness thoughts. It's because you are dwelling in these awful feelings and so the ego and the devil come get you. And I've had a lot of conversations with people about this, okay? Hello, Ava. I'm so happy you're here. Incredible. Okay. So when you're in these low frequencies, you are susceptible. And a really cool book to read, guys, is Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. And he talks about how he's having a conversation with the devil, and the devil's like, I got 95% of the population. And he's like, what? 95% of the people aren't bad? And he's like, I got them, meaning I make them feel not good enough. I make them feel bad. It's like almost like I kind of believe like there's like these thought forms that float around and we only attract them because we're here, right? So when you're dwelling in fear, lack, scarcity, not enough, you're susceptible to the ego. You're susceptible to the devil, right? So in the book, he's telling Napoleon, he's like, I'm the one that tells them they're not good enough. I'm the one that tells them they're losers. I got them all. I have them like captured. But people who dwell here, up here, love, bliss, gratitude, there is enough. I'm safe. I'm regulated. I'm happy because happiness is a choice. It's like creativity comes through, God consciousness comes through, your aura is so magnetic. And then if you think about it, if you're dwelling in these frequencies, okay, so let's say this is a possibility of love in your life. It can only come to you when you're here. Love is not a match for shame and guilt. So when you're saying, like, let's say, this is so messy. Let's say you are like, love is limited. I'll be single forever. There's no love. Well, love is up there, but it can't pass to here because you're not an energetic match. You're saying love is limited. Love is limited. It's not a match for love here. It only dwells to people in there. And this, okay, I can share the emotional scale tone with you guys. But the whole point is we're an energetic match to frequencies. And so when you are in these higher frequencies, you are creative, you are intuitive, you are love, you are bliss, you are literally a match for all of these experiences, gratitude, peace, all those things. But and this is the thing is when we're down here, we can't even see abundance. You have to move up the emotional scale tone, right? So I have a program called Attunement. If you want an awesome membership that's $111 a month, no commitment, you come in there and you already get like tons of courses on frequency, energetics, all these things. There's a new one called Wealthy from Within. You can jump in there, but I have another course called Attunement on frequency work. And so this is our goal, okay? So if these are the higher frequencies, these are low frequencies. Our goal is to first get here. So if you are in lack, not enough, feeling really bad, your goal is to get to neutral, right? And Abraham Hicks teaches this too, right? The emotional scale tone. Your goal is to become neutral. And this is where it's like, I'm safe. This is why you got to regulate your nervous system. If you can regulate your nervous system, if you can look around, wow, I have a roof over my head, my bills are paid, and you can regulate, you can get sun on your face. If you can start feeling neutral, that's awesome because then you can start working your way up to this, right? Because we want to go from safe, neutral, up to gratitude, right? And gratitude is so simple to find, guys. Like, I am a big believer, like, you got to consciously every single day look around your life, no matter what's happening, and find beauty. If you can start to cultivate gratitude in your life, yes, I have enough. You literally, you got to go in your fridge, look at the fridge and be like, wow, I have so much food in abundance. You're changing your state of consciousness into abundance. You're moving your energy field. And then when you're up here in love, guess what? Now you are a match. You're a match to potential possibilities, to love, to bliss. Like we have to become an energetic match to these desires. You're not an energetic match when you're in lack and fear and scarcity. You're a match to those things. And then you're susceptible to the ego, to the limiting stories, to the devil, if you want to call it, right? To entities, literally. Like that's the portal through that way. So our goal is, okay, is to regulate our nervous system, breath work, meditate, okay? Frequency music, get on binaural beats, 528, okay? Schumann frequency, okay? Get on that, meditate, okay? Meditating also is one of the most powerful ways to disconnect from the ego thinking, the limited paradigm. You actually start tapping into your God consciousness. So regulate, you feel safe, we get to safe, I feel neutral, I'm okay. And then you move up to, I have enough. And you have enough because if you're here, you have a computer, you have a phone, you have the internet, you have food, you have water, air, I have enough. You can literally as simply go air, I have enough. Who here has heard of Joe Vitale? Joe Vitale. He's a doctor. He's written so many books in spirituality and manifestation. Do you know his story was that he was a homeless person? He was homeless. And then one day he found a library and a pen and he felt gratitude. Then he like manifested something else. Then he went to the library, started learning the universal spiritual laws. Every time he found enoughness, gratitude, started manifesting, and then became multimillionaire from a homeless person. Again, people who defy the odds. You can go from homeless to multimillionaire to changing people's lives. We have people all around the world defying the odds all the time. If it's possible for them, it's possible for you. But your work is to first awareness. What's my state of consciousness? What am I looping? Then I got to check in with my being of my energy. Where am I? Am I in fear? Am I lacking? Am I dysregulated? Oh my God, I'm in survival mode. I'm always overthinking. So then your job is meditate, breath work. Maybe you need to do forgiveness work. Maybe you need to tap. Maybe you need to get a trauma work. You got to release the shame, the guilt, the fear, the lack, because the ego will keep coming at you. The devil will sway you. Then you get into safety. I'm safe. I'm okay. Then you move up the emotional scale tone. And this is what makes your aura magnetic to love, joy, all the things that you want. Okay. So it goes from lack, survival mode to safety to I have enough. There is enough. Then I'm looking for potential possibilities and expanders. Oh my God, if they happen to them, then I'm looking for gratitude. I have this marker. This is amazing. I can write with this. I have food in my fridge. And then you work your way up and then notice how much you start being a magnet to these things. But this is the being. The being is your state of consciousness and it's your actual energetic field. You have to every single day look for the beauty. Look for the abundance in your life. I am abundant. I have water. I have air. I have free sunshine. Seek first the kingdom of God and all of his righteousness. All of these things will be added to you. You have to seek it within you first. You got to go from safe to enough to gratitude to love to joy. And honestly, when we talk about emotional intelligence, happiness is a choice. Most of us, when I used to feel really depressed at one point in my life, I want to be happy, but I just keep being focused on how sad I am and focusing on the lack. That's just not going to work. Feeling is a choice too. Do we get impacted by people? Yes. So again, it's a choice. Who do you hang out with? What kind of movies you watching? You watching horror movies? Also portals to not good things coming into your life, okay? Watching poverty shows? Also not good. News. Like you are impacting your own emotions. You are constantly keeping yourself in a loop. Happiness is a choice. Feeling love is a choice. Feeling gratitude is a choice. This is why manifestation is like conscious creation. Where am I at? What am I thinking? What am I feeling? And your feeling thoughts are the most creative. So when you can get in a feeling of like, I have enough, and you go into your fridge and you list out all these things and you feel gratitude, sun on your face, then you want to use your mind to imagine more. That's the portal. That's what's going to start attracting possibilities, the ideas that are going to come into you. You can't say you're happy and focus on how sad you are. And you cannot keep putting things like, oh, once I have the money, once I have the partner, once I have this, then I'll be happy. You're putting things above you when you are source consciousness, when you have God dwelling within you. Like us. Like, so these low energies, bad. Get out of guilt, shame, fear, scarcity. It's going to continue to sway you in really bad things, and then you're going to perceive it in your reality. And what does evidence do? Creates more manifestation. So, let's do a little identity work. I did not think this was going to be this long, but it's okay. This is going to be brilliant. Hello. Okay. So I'm going to do some identity work and this is going to compound. But tomorrow we're really going to focus on money creation. I'm going to teach you why we say money is energy, what wealth creation is, and how you are a match for it if you choose to be. So let's do some identity work. Because again, what I said at the beginning of this masterclass, what you are truly manifesting when you're manifesting a new reality, something you've never had, new financial situation, a new career, whatever it is you are manifesting the version of you that has the life that you want. That's what you're manifesting. So the real goal of manifestation is identity work because identity work requires your self-concept to change, your state of consciousness to change because then you got to work on your frequency. Then when your self-concept, your state of consciousness and your frequency changes, your actions change. It's not about what you do, it's about who you're being when you do it. It's the consciousness you're in. It's the frequency you're in as you do the thing. This is why we have so many people who are like, I'm doing the same thing as you, but I'm not getting the results. Why is one person succeeding, one person's not? Why? It's because who they're being. It's their state of consciousness. It's their belief in their possibility. It's their actual frequency. Because you can be in a state of consciousness of lack, feel like lack, then try to launch something, and then what are you going to perceive? Your projection is your perception, more lack, versus a person that's like, the people are coming, money's easy, I am excited for this. The sales are coming, the sales coming. It's not what you're actually doing, it's who you're being. That's the most important thing. And so tomorrow too, like we're going to deepen this as well. But if you really want to work on your wealth identity, I created a course that I'm going to be launching tomorrow. Be in the We Go First membership. It's 2221 pre-sale, or you can get it for 111, which is the best way to go through the We Go First membership. But it's like an identity shift that really unlocks wealth. It's really changing your self concept because your identity is the mechanism of manifesting money. Like this is most people's issues too, is we're studying the laws of vibration and the universal principles, but studying something doesn't actually track money. It's embodying. It's actually shifting your whole identity. That's what attracts the money. When we're operating from our old identity, trying to apply things but not actually embodying them, we stay in the same money stories. So you can also use your money tuition draw for this as well. So no more studying. Let's talk about embodiment because if you're into human design, I'm a 6'2". I'm all about embodiment. I'm all about frequency. I have a very like visionary perspective, and I'm telling you, a lot of you guys are studying this stuff, but you're not embodying it. No more studying. It's like that quote that says, you read a book about water to think you're going to change about swimming, something like that. Okay. But you can't read a book about water and think you're going to learn to swim. The only way you learn to swim is you dive in, you go in, you embody it. Like, let's go. So no more studying. We got to embody this work. We have to actually shift our identity. And a lot of the things I'm going to take you guys through in the Wealthy from Within course is like embodiment. Like we're changing our identity. This is the most important piece of manifestation. This is like the ultimate manifestation experiment is embodiment, is to actually change your identity. So this is your homework for today. This is the last thing we're going to do before tomorrow. You're going to grab two pieces of paper, okay? On one piece of paper, you're going to write the old identity, who you are right now. And you're going to list everything about you, what you believe, your attitude, your beliefs, what you think about on a daily basis, how you feel on a daily basis, how you dress, how you talk, your traits, how you communicate. What's your attitude about life? What's your eating? What's your habits? What's your routine? Everything. You're going to write it all out, especially your thoughts and your beliefs. And then on the second piece of paper, you're going to write new identity. Okay? You're going to write the ideal traits of your ideal version that has everything you've ever wanted. You're going to write the attitude, the beliefs that you think this version has, like the kind of the way she takes care of her body, the way she moves, the way she invests, what does she do on a daily basis? What does she think? How does she feel? And the best question for this new identity piece of homework for you is to ask yourself this. If right now I had everything I've ever wanted, if I had more than enough, how would I show up? How would you show up today if you had everything you've ever wanted? I bet you probably wouldn't be stressed in survival mode. Bet you wouldn't be rushing. Bet you wouldn't be chasing. Bet you wouldn't be performing. Bet you wouldn't be in any sort of lack, any sort of like, ugh. You would wake up with a pep in your step. What else would you be doing? You definitely wouldn't be settling. You would definitely not be making any sort of excuses because usually it's our old identity that's in the old state of consciousness that has a bunch of excuses. Well, I can't launch a business and I can't invest in this because of blah, blah, blah. But the new version of you that you are manifesting, she she doesn't settle. She doesn't make excuses. She doesn't rush. She doesn't chase. She doesn't perform. And that's a really big piece because when we're pretending and performing and chasing, you're not authentic. And authenticity is literally us being in our most magnetic self. It's our like source. It's like God dwelling within us when we're super authentic. So you wouldn't be performing anymore. You wouldn't do that. So you're gonna ask yourself, if I already had more than enough, I had what I want, who would I be? I'd probably wake up smiling. I'd probably wake up with a pep in my step. I'd probably like actually be authentic, like super myself, super bold. Definitely wouldn't be performing. And this is why this work is so important because remember the scripture in Genesis, be, do, have that's laid out to us in the Bible? Be fruitful, right? Feel good, believe in abundance, see abundance, find the gratitude, then multiply the action. Talk about that tomorrow, and then you have the thing. So you have to be more. And a big being more is authentic. Like this is me, big, bold, happy. This is what I'm obsessed with. Like how I show up with you guys is like I am so authentic. My family comes home and I'm like, guys, blah, blah, blah. Like my family, like everybody that knows me knows this is who I am everywhere I go. I don't care if you're 80. I am gonna talk crazy stuff to everybody everywhere I go because it's who I am. I'm so authentic. I'm so bold. I'm so magnetic though. And I track literally clients in the real world just because I'm so authentic, right? So to be fruitful is you have to be more. A big piece of this is like being super authentic. Like, what would you be doing if you already had everything you wanted? What kind of boundaries would you have? Where would you raise your standards? Because you have to be more. So before you can do more, before you can have more. But you cannot have more until you do more, until you be more, right? So the biggest piece of this is like, how do I show up as the most authentic, biggest, most abundant, most happiest, most excited version of me? So this is your homework. Step one, write out everything you believe, everything you feel, your habits, your traits, and then the version of you that has the dream life. Again, how would I show up if I had everything? Like, write it all out, all of it. The thoughts. How does she move? How does she invest? How does she speak? How does she communicate? And you're going to burn the old letter, burn it, okay? Because the old version of you has to go in order for the new version to come into your reality, okay? And every single day, you're going to look at that list of the version of you that has everything you ever wanted, and you're going to start being that version. You're going to wake up with an actual smile on your face. You're going to be super authentic. You're going to raise your standards. You're going to take care of yourself. You have an idea. You want to invest in something. You're going to go do that because that's being her so that you can attract those things into your life. Like you got to be fruitful. You got to be the biggest, authentic, most boldest, like grateful version of you that there possibly ever is. No acting. It's like being. I don't believe in act as if. It's like be it. Be this version. And so you got to stop responding with your old version. And this is where you get tested. So you're going to start being this new version. You're going to start raising your standards, having boundaries, being super authentic, moving in a different way, taking care of yourself. You got to pep in your step. The hardest part, like I've said a couple times, is you got to be able to be the new version of you in the old reality. You got to stand strong being the new version, being fruitful while being in your old financial situation, while being in your old love situation that's not working or the lack of something as the new self and you got to say this to yourself constantly because you're going to get triggered by your circumstances. You're still going to get a bill. You're going to get tested here and there. You got to say, my current circumstance and current life is only evidence of my past conscious way of thinking. This is changing. The 3D is catching up. Okay. And then when you get tested, because this is where people revert back to their old self, is they respond with their old self. So they continue to be their old self. Is let's say you're doing all the work, you're being grateful, changing your reprogramming, you're seeing possibilities, you're acting differently. You're going to get like someone defaults, you lost a client, you get a bill, you have another really horrible bad date, right? After you're like, I'm being the most magnetic version of myself. So this is what you say. Everything is happening for my greater good. Everything's happening for my greater good. This is showing up because of my past thinking, my past consciousness. And this is the test right now where instead of responding from my old self, I respond with my new self. I choose to feel calm. Okay. Nervous system. It's like when you get triggered with like something bad that happens in your circumstance, you're like, why? I'm doing all the work, God. You say, ha, this is happening for my greater good. It's showing up because it's the past manifestation, but it's also my test to respond from my new self. Because when we start responding with our new self, our life changes. So it's important you respond differently, right? So it's like, let's say you were constantly fighting with your partner and you want to be like this emotionally intelligent, super communicative, and you want to have an amazing relationship, right? And then your partner says something, it triggers you, and you remember new self responds differently. I stay calm. I tap it out. I communicate effectively, right? But if you respond with the old self, oh, yeah, I trigger you back and you fire back, you stay the same. You have to actually be a different person. Be fruitful. Be, do, have. So this is the hardest part. You're going to do this work. You're going to reprogram your state of consciousness. You're going to stop looking at the lag. You're going to clean up your social media, everything you're watching. You're going to be surrounded by expanders. You're going to binge my stuff. You're going to be like, possibility exists. You're going to wake up with a smile on your face and a pep in your step. You're going to be this new version. You're going to take action from this new version. And then as soon as something shows up in your circumstance that triggers you and lack or something, this is happening for my greater good right now. And I am choosing to respond differently. And then this is where you want to calm your nervous system. I'm okay. It's okay. We're going to figure it out. And then as soon as you start responding differently, things start responding differently to you. And the 3D does catch up. It really does. This is the part I can't explain how it happens, but I went from like this low income apartment with so much debt, so much anxiety, so much like opposite of who I am. I couldn't even speak on a live camera. I thought I was going to die. And I'm this confident person, this magnetic person, this abundant person. I'm like engaged to the love of my life, overflow, all this thing. But I had to be in this low income apartment with still all this debt, circumstances happening, and being like, I'm responding differently. This bill showed up. I looked at my bank account and I'm like, no feeling, no lack. It's okay. The 3D's catching up. I trust. I have enough. Everything's working out for my greater good. This is happening for me. Everything's happening for my greater good. This is how you respond to the things that show up that are not good. And you just gotta be so okay. You have power of your circumstances. If you are a slave to your circumstances, you will be a slave to your circumstance and you're gonna stay in your loop forever. But when something shows up and you're in your new identity in the old reality and you still stay calm and you still stay abundant and good things are coming to me, they're coming. The 3D catches up. We have power over circumstances. We have been taught that things happen to us and we have no power, but that is not true. You are a conscious creator. You are the creator of your entire reality. It's time to start acting like it. Respond differently. This is huge, okay? So homework, old self, and you're going to burn that, and then the new self. Who is she? How does she think? How does she wake up? Have I already had everything I ever wanted? How does she invest? How does she move? How does she speak? How does she respond? And when you're tested, ooh, awesome, for my greater good. Thanks, universe. Respond different, respond thing. Everything starts responding differently to you. And then when you're working on your frequency, right? We're working up the emotional scale tone, creativity. Get in feminine energy as much as possible. Lean back, meditate, breath work. This is how you open yourself up to receiving. Every problem you have infinite solutions around you. If you're saying money's hard, there's flows of ideas. I have ideas, but you got to be open. You got to see the possibility because your projection is your perception until you break out of the loop. Find expanders. If I'm your expander, stay close to me. Even if you never have to get into a paid container, watch my stuff, read my content. I'm very intentional with everything that I create on my social media. Surround yourself with people who defy the odds. If it's possible for them, it's possible for me. In every recession, there's people who become wildly successful, who come from the worst, like from poverty to riches. It happens all the time because they broke out of the loop. They found expanders, or they were the ones that were like, no, this is the most important one of all of it, is like beyond even expanders is like knowing I made in the image of God. With God, I can do anything. I believe in the universe is supporting me. I believe God supports me. I'm a conscious creator. Start acting like that. You're not a slave to your circumstances unless you say so. Okay, I know this was long. So, thank you so much for being here. If you want to be in the draw that we'll be doing Friday, you want to rent maybe a free spot in a course, or you want to get 80%, 50% off, share this video, take the graphic, the manifestation experiment, tag me on social media. We'll do that draw on Friday. We'll do it for tomorrow as well. We'll do like the same thing for tomorrow. But tomorrow, we are going into wealth creation, what money is energy, what it actually means, how to create money, because you can create a lot of money. Money is easy. And then we'll talk a little bit about the rest of the formula. So enjoy this. There's a lot in here, I know, and it's long. Sorry about the scribbles, but I think you guys get the idea anyways. So thank you for being here. I love you so much. Thank you for everybody who shared. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'm going to be live in only the high level coaching community. So make sure that you're registered for this masterclass, and we'll also send the replays. And you can find the replays on my YouTube channel. Okay. I love you. Thank you for being here. I'm so grateful for you. And I hope that this really awakened you. And I feel like if you know someone that needs to hear this, share this video, tag them in it. I think our world is in dire need of really awakening more people, but the Great Awakening is coming. So all the things. Okay, I am off. I love you. Have a beautiful day. And I will see you guys live tomorrow at 12:12 in my coaching community. Bye-bye.